Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of Whitish, back here with another video, and today I will be slowing the fuck down when I'm talking. Yeah, I keep noticing that I'm rushing for no reason. It's not gonna help me, so I'm gonna calm down and just go through this as smoothly as possible. Sorry if you guys feel like I was rushing. Honestly, I was, so I apologize for that. But without any further ado, subscribe, like, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date on all of my videos, and check out the playlist for this series. And without any further ado, let's begin with the sixth part of What If Asta Was Yuta's Reincarnation. We begin this part with a flash forward with 3 rounds having already passed. Magna's team fought and won their match, Fernero, Haman, and Leopold fought and won their match, and Langris' match would have just ended as he showed his amazing prowess and superiority. Everyone is left amazed as when he marches back to the stands, they make way until he comes face to face with his big brother, who kept a confident demeanor. In the next match, don't get in the way of my magic, okay brother? If you did, she would be very disappointed. Then I won't lose to you. I don't like this new version of you very much. Well, at least it's better than the past you. Well, when you live with someone whose very presence sends a shiver down your spine, nothing can scare you anymore. As he looks up to Asta, Asta would wave to him with a smile, as this gives Fernero only more confidence, and he promises to not disappoint when he and Langris fight. After this, Brill, the captain of the Aquadeer, appears, having been disguised as one of the participants all along, and he fights and destroys his opponents alone, while his proud butler Walter watches it all. Luck, Klaus, and Angel fight and win against some arrogant nobles, and then comes the match of Yuno, Noelle, and Unregard versus whoever they're fighting. I'm joking, I know who it is. It's Dora and, that other guy, Solid. Yeah, that's his name. As they step out to the battlefield, the almost sick-looking Mantis Mage would say, "Let's do our best, okay? If we work together, we'll be just fine." "Are you good?" asked, and Enrigas said he was fine, with Noelle then asking, "So, you're Asta's older brother, right? I hope you don't go overboard like him." "Overboard? I don't have cursed energy," would say. "Still, do your best, guys," Asta would yell, and as their fight begins, though to be honest, I want to cover this. I'm not going to, because you guys know the outcome. Solid and Alidora were destroyed. I'm really not going to talk about it. You know how badly they must have been beaten, considering the development that Noelle and have gotten through this series. They had no chance. On regard with real solid even more, and the final nail in the coffin was when when Noelle stood before her beaten brother and used her new spell. "This is a symbol of my hard work." Her magic would explode and continue to rise, leaving all those present shocked until it tops and creates a set of armor made of water. "How can you? That's impossible," said Solid. "Water magic, Valkyrie's armor." Julius, unable to contain his excitement, would be twinkling. His eyes would be twinkling as he would be questioning everything about this new type of magic, and everyone shares the same enthusiasm, albeit not to Julius's level, but they are enamored nonetheless. Meanwhile, didn't even need to use spirit magic to effortlessly destroy Dora's spell from the inside, and Noelle is using a power that everyone who knew of her mother recognized. Like mother like daughter, I guess, thought Owen. And to clear things up, I've been calling Owen, the healing mage, personal to the Wizard King, Alan, for the past few series. I apologize for that. His name is Owen. Alright, I'll continue. Noelle would then deactivate the spell as she hears cheers from Asta, who says that was awesome, and she would blush as she brushes her hair back. Of course I'd win. Noelle, Alidora, and the other person are left, well, not the other person. Alidora and Noelle are left muttering and broken as the winning team walks off, and Noelle would thank and Enregard, I keep forgetting his name sometimes, for defending her, and Enregard would say, "I simply pointed out the obvious. Do you feel better?" "Better than I ever have," Noelle would say. As he walks by her, would then remember back when Noelle could barely even use big spells, and he gained a certain sense of rivalry, especially since Asta helped her get stronger. After they return, the field is then changed drastically as the second round is then presented, that being Team B versus Team C, and that means Curse, Soul, and Magna versus Asta, Xerx, and Mimosa. So we get to see him fight again. I wonder what he'll use this time, the people thought. "I ain't gonna lose, Asta," shouted the fire mage. "Yeah, hopefully not too fast." As he says this with a smile, the whole group shivers a bit, but Asta would laugh, saying he's joking because he's not gonna hold back at all, so there ain't no question of too fast. "You're my precious senpai after all. I gotta show you some respect." "Yeah, right," Magna would say. "Alright, finally. I'm up against a noble," Zora thought. "Please get to your places," Julius would shout. Getting to the opposite sides of their fighting sites, they position themselves near the crystal and get ready to attack, until Julius then allows them to begin. Instantly, Curse would fill the field with Sakuras that would take his form, creating multiple clones. I will not lose my beauty to you, king of curses. Like I said, I don't like that name. With one downward slash, he releases a gigantic wave of cursed energy that blows it all away, blinding the team as Soul quickly then creates her Earth Golem. Slowly the shockwave obstructing their view would then slowly stop, moving, allowing them to slowly regain their sight, and instantly Rika would then be clawing at them, and Magna would barely tackle Soul out of the way, along with the crystal. However, her golem is then ripped to pieces, with the queen's remaining force causing a huge eruption of slashes behind them all. This slightly cracks the crystal and leaves Curse horrified. This isn't beautiful at all. Wow, Rika's super scary, huh? Real said, and Lug says, I'm surprised Asta's letting her fight so badly, though. That must mean his training has been really good. As the queen roars, the team C was split up, running away when accidentally Curse is bombarded by a fire spell when he steps on one of Zora's traps, and he barely manages to use Mana Skin, just as Zora would then blitz him. Let's dance, you fucker. Curse, however, would then call him ugly, releasing a gigantic wave of sharp sakura blossoms, and everyone thinks that this is the end, but in that instant, a magic circle would form on Zora's body and would absorb the magic before then releasing it back at a much higher level. He reflected it? So that's his magic. They had never seen his magic up to this point, so Curse is swept away and cut to shreds as he barely manages to escape the wave, but then Asta reappears right behind him. Then Icebreaker. He would crack the air with this kick, causing Curse to then cough up blood as he is hit, and he is sent crashing to the ground, while Asta flies forward with Mimosa and Zora after Soul and Magna. As they give chase, Magna throws round after round of exploding fireballs at them, but they are cut through by Asta before a beam is then fired by Mimosa, and Soul would deflect it with an earth wall. In that instant, however, the crystal then breaks to pieces from Rika, who has slashed it up, and they looked to see her looming in front of them, and they didn't even notice her until now. We thought she was unsummoned, Solid and Magna thought, as they come to a stop, and Rika would say, You lose. Shut up, there's no need to make it any worse, Magna would shout. Asta would then come up and say they did great, but of course he wasn't going to give them time to think up a plan. It won't end like this next time, you hear? Soul would yell, and Mimosa and her brother then have a little talk, and then Fenrir fights Langris. But Langris ends up going a bit forward as he fills Fenrir with gaping holes, and when they clash, by extension, Fenrir's team would lose their crystal, so Team G wins, just as Leopold would actually hit their crystal. And as they watch their friend fall, all the bulls become filled with bloodlust. Alright, that's enough, Julius would yell. However, Langris' mind becomes cluttered as he advances, raising his hand and gathering mana. I said enough, Julius would shout as the participants start to clearly see he is not in the right state of mind. Before Langris can even get closer, he'll be surrounded by all the bulls from all sides as Noelle would enter her Valkyrie form and they are ready to kill him on sight. Asta meanwhile would gather and put reverse cursed energy into Fenrir and he would quickly heal his wounds, but he would stay unconscious of course. He's gonna be fine. Yeah, I'm still gonna kill this bastard, said Magna. Yeah, screw the match. As if you could actually even touch me. Just because you flunkies have been rising lately, don't think you're all that, Langris would say. Guys, stop. I'll take care of him. We're fighting next anyway. All the bulls then see Asta cracking his neck while Rika would form carrying Fenrir. Did he hurt him? Rika would ask, and Asta would nod, and the cursed spirit would fill with unbridled rage as such a puny nobody should never be able to anger her precious Yuta by harming his friend. But Langris isn't backing down and even looks downright possessed, forgetting who he's burying his fangs at. Then would you like me to clear the field? The voice of Julius is heard as he arrives with some guards and Owen, and Asta would say to please do so while Rika delivers Fenrir to Owen. Alright then. With crazed eyes, Langris would then shoot a blast towards Asta, who would dodge just as Langris is then frozen in chronostasis. Asta would then approach him. We will settle this like knights. Is that fine with you? Langris' daunting glare shows an overwhelming yes, as he is then released from chronostasis, and as he lands, he stares down Asta. I didn't just laser around, commoner, so don't expect this to be an easy win. Asta says nothing, instead telling Zora and Mimosa that they simply have to protect the crystal. Oh, you're not gonna kiss up to nobles anymore, huh? Zora would say. Protect the fucking crystal. I'm not gonna tell you again. Zora can now feel that Asta would legitimately kill him and just shuts up as the match is then set to begin, and those who were not participating go back to the stands. As they look at the two teams, the mood is tense, and Asta's semi-playful look now shows complete seriousness. Julius sits down and raises his hand. Begin! As he drops his hand instantly, Langris will charge at Asta, who does the same, as he would then cut through many of Langris' mana blasts to pieces, and the remaining shockwave blows back Langris, who barely stops himself. I can still win. I'm gonna show this bastard this place and my brothers. Below me, A barrage of attacks bombard Asta before then switching their trajectory and surrounding him while keeping the same momentum, but then he holds his hand out and he would grab onto the sky as he then turns it into a surface and he twists it around himself like a protective tarp, sending Langris' attacks upward when they then near the distorted space that Asta had created. What the hell? Is he grabbing space? Leopold would ask. Even Yuno is shocked as he has never seen this before, and Mimosa and Zora see this as well and are left completely baffled. Asta, however, will then let go of this space, allowing it to return to normal, and he would then disappear and appear right behind the mage while dual wielding with his anti-magic katana now. And as he appears right in front of him, Langris would just burst with cuts. Screw you. King of Curses my ass. He then turns, releasing a massive blast, but it is instantly absorbed by Asta, who will then swing, and the mage's eyes widen as a purple eruption of mana hits him, and he would scream in pain from his own magic corroding him. Just what is this, Commander? It's like one thing after another, the king would shout. The reflected attack would then spread through the battlefield, leaving most of it leveled, with each side barely jumping back in time before they fall, and as they look down, there was nothing but a big canyon now. That must have been fucking crazy, Zora thought. Langris' teammates then hear a crack and turn to see Rika having destroyed their crystal, and will nervously just stand there looking at the queen before Julius then declares Team B the winner. Yeah, this side of him is always scarier. He took all that anger and destroyed him, Yuno thought. Charmy then cheered at Asta, winning, with the curse user then looking to see Langris out on the ground, out cold, completely destroyed, and he says, "You're not special, you just happen to be seen differently than my senpai. So don't ever do this shit He's out cold. With an embarrassed look, he would then just fly away, but he is satisfied, and with this came the end of the match, reinstating how strong Asta was. Not that they didn't know, but it's apparent how different he is when he's fighting for real, and he's actually pissed. Team K with Luck, Klaus, and someone else, I forgot his name, fight Real, and they lose. Then came Yuno, Noelle, and Enregard versus Real and his team, and Yuno unveils his spirit die form, and he combines with Bell to do this, and he beats the captain head on, leaving everyone present shocked. He sent Real flying and destroyed the crystal while keeping a calm composure, showing he had truly reached the level of the captains. Now comes the final match, Team P versus Team B, Julius would say. As this is said, Asta and Yuno stare each other down and smile. I'm winning this one. We'll just have to fight and see, Asta would say. The new stage is then set and rebuilt as the two teams then stand opposite of each other, and both Noelle and Yuno enter their elevated states. Can my magic even harm him? Asked Enregard. No. So you fight him. Noelle would then look to Yuno, who nods as she says that she will go for the crystal, and Enregard will be taking care of theirs. Begin, Julius would yell, with Yuno then blitzing Asta with Spirit Storm, only for Asta to meet this blast with a downward slash, splitting it and blowing it away instantly. Let's see how much you've grown. He then blitzes and kicks Yuno in the stomach, making him choke as he is then sent flying and barely stops to see a flash of cursed energy just aimed at him, and he would then twist and dodge as it misses, only scratching his cheek before he then holds his hand out and forms something with his magic, something which Asta did not expect. Yuno forms a sword. I made it just for you. He and Asta would then clash, causing a massive shockwave that is felt down below and even in the stands. Meanwhile, Noelle is flying towards the crystal and she thrusts with her spear, but Zora would then get in the way and receive her massive sea dragon's roar. And as he would scream, he throws it back at Noelle, who would clash with her own attack and barely deflect it down, but she keeps flying and increases her speed tenfold, making the two unable to keep up. Eventually, she would then get a shot at the crystal and attack, but she would then notice something. Wait, why aren't they? Zora at this moment would then smile from ear to ear. You fucking dumbass. Her attack is then absorbed by the crystal as it hits it and is reflected back as she barely dodges it before the magic then fades. And Asta and Yuno at this moment continue to clash as Yuno then releases a Spirit Storm once again, which actually surprises Asta because it was far more condensed and fast. But he blocks it with his anti-magic katana and only gets pushed back a bit, but the blast will still be pushing forward and Asta keeps holding it back. Yuno would then grunt and increase his output even more, and Asta smiles, being happy at his progress, but he would then hear a voice. Aren't you taking this a bit too lightly, human? What the? His vision would then turn, with him now seeing only red and also seeing the anti-magic devil. I'm gonna give you a little gift. Right before their eyes, everyone then sees Yuno's attack be blown away to reveal Asta with two horns, red, black wings, and his entire body is emanating anti-magic. When did you figure this out? Asked Yuno. Just now. That form, it's like that of a devil. I guess it's not surprising considering his power set, but it's just his very presence. It wards off magic, Julius thought, as Asta then attacks and blasts past Yuno, who couldn't even keep up, leaving Asta as a streak of anti-magic, just keeping himself moving forward at the crystal and doing nothing else. And he's then met by Onregard's giant mushroom summon, while Yuno tries to chase behind. Black meteorite! Ripping through the mushroom, he appears right behind the crystal, and it is cleanly cleaved in two, leaving Onregard frozen. And Team B win, Julius would say, and from the other side, Noelle hearing this would be so mad at herself, and she would land exiting her Valkyrie form. I won't lose next time. Yeah, sure, Zora would say, as he is clearly tired from trying to ward off Noelle for so long, but fighting a noble is something he is always down for. From the medical ward, Fernor would then watch as his Kohai wins, and he would smile, being happy at just everything. And a few minutes later, instead of staying, Zora would actually exit the fighting ground and walks out to the Colosseum by using the portal, and as he heads out, he then hears Julius' voice and stops. What'd I tell you? The Wizard King would say. Whatever, I barely did shit. Well, at least now your opinion has changed. It's gonna be hard for you to join the Bulls if we can't get along with the second vice captain. Who's the first, Zora would say, as he would then turn to Julius, who only smiles with amazed and sighing as he says, whatever, I still don't like that bastard. Well, we could still use your skill. Just think about it. A few days then pass, with those who have earned the right to become Royal Knights still being decided, and at the Black Bull's base far in the forest, Asta will be checking out his anti-magic katana. You're still not gonna talk? Come on, seriously, clearly you're conscious. Screw it. Closing his eyes, he would then flow his cursed energy into the weapon, and as he becomes filled with the same energy before, by drawing it back into his own body with cursed energy, he opens his eyes and finds himself in the same red space. A murky shadow then forms and gathers, taking the form of the anti-magic devil. You got some nerve. I guess it's because you're as abnormal as me. Asta would look around. Do you live here? What does it concern a human? Are you like a demon or something? Liba, however, says that he has to leave, to which Asta says no. I don't like someone I don't know hijacking my body like that. Then you shouldn't have picked me up. Fair, but still, I'm not leaving until we have a talk, and we both know you're not gonna beat me. The devil would laugh, saying he's very arrogant for a human, but he himself doesn't really know how to gauge the effectiveness of his techniques against devils, because he's never experienced it, obviously. I'll tell you one thing, if you tell me about that devil you possess. She seems quite similar to me. If she wasn't bound to you, this whole world would be ravaged. Why does... You know what? Just because no one else will believe the story but you, I'll tell you something, Asta would say. Before Rika was how she was now, she developed a strange type of magic. One that cursed those close to her. Very close to her. But she died, even unaware that she was able to use that magic. And we were both clueless about it. Liba would then snap his fingers. You copied her magic and cursed her, thus bringing her back to life. But that shouldn't even be possible, though. Just from observation alone, it's clear that you can only copy the purest of cursed energy and powers. How do you even have so many techniques? I'm sure that it's not just me wondering this, after all. As he stares down Asta, the boy would keep the truth to himself, however, and the devil would then actually saw the visage of someone familiar and couldn't believe it, but Asta looked so similar to her, it couldn't have been anyone else. Dichita? Asta would then lift an eye to this, as Libby would then become conflicted and kicks Asta out of the space, and the boy would find himself back in the real world. I didn't get anything. Maybe next time. Putting the grimoire back in the storage, he then walks back to base, but as he walks in, he finds Mereleona holding up Noelle and Luck with her magic, while she asks Yami if she could take them. And when he arrived, they all turn to him, as Asta would then ask, did something happen? You're coming too, she would say, as her fire paws would then take a hold of Asta, and Noelle would then scream, asking what is going on, and Magna would then laugh, saying it seems that they're in trouble. You passed the Royal Knight selection exam. What? Wait, what about me? Magna would ask. There was another one, but I guess he ain't here, Mereleona would say. Wait, I didn't pass? Come on, at least answer me, Magna would say. Magna is then left ignored, as the three are then taken to the Clover capital, and they gather and stand before Mereleona as she speaks. I got appointed the captain of this group of knights. The name's Mereleona Vermilion. If you're here, that means you've been chosen to fight against the Eye of the Midnight Sun. Don't let me down, got it? With looks of determination, they strengthen the resolve and nod, but Mereleona is still looking for that certain missing someone when she then senses him and will lift her hands to the sky and release a massive blast of fire. As Zora falls in from above, he reflects the attack back at her, leaving everyone surprised at his entrance, which is very similar to the one he had done before. But of course, Mereleona would cancel out the attack and say, you better not disrespect me, Shrimp. I'm not gonna ask you again. Zora would then land bearing the robe of the Black Bull, saying, yeah. Wait, Xerx, you're on our squad? Since when? Noelle would ask. My name's Zora Ideal, and yeah, I'm your latest member. Get used to it. The Bulls are surprised by both this reveal of his true squad and his true name being Zora. Why did you even lie? Asked Asta. You know what they say, to fool your enemies, first fool your friends. Okay. Let's just get along for now, I guess. I have a feeling you're gonna get on my nerves a lot, though. Like I said, get used to it, Zora would say. Fine, but I am never shaking your hand again. Oi, are you ignoring me? Shut your traps and line up for the uniforms. They've been boosted by magic. Or do you not want one? Sorry about that. Come on, guys, Asta would say. They would then all gather into a line, and after they get everything, Noelle then shows himself as he will also be joining the fight, and he looks more serious than he ever has. The others also share his sentiment because Fuegoleon still hasn't woken up, so they're still going to win this fight, not just for the kingdom, but for him. And the king then comes and tries to get a word in, but is overshadowed by Mereleona, who with the battle cry leads everyone into the hideout of the Eye of the Midnight Sun. The Gravito Stone's Mana Zone was where the enemies lived, and using the magic of Siren, who came from the Golden Dawn, they map out its inside before then splitting up into groups. Mereleona, as she got onto Zora and Asta, then says that they're with him. Alright then, take this as proof of our new friendship. Zora would then flick a sting bug at Mereleona, but she would catch it and shove it into his face using her fire paw. The smell ain't nothing to me anyway. When she then releases her grip, Zora would be just like coughing as he was completely intoxicated, and Asta would laugh saying, "It's not fun, is it?" Oh my god. You really sure you want us commoners with you? You think I give a damn about a rank? Show me strength. Slow me down and I'm leaving you behind. I hope you've learned to control that new form. She would then look at Asta, who says, I guess you could say that. As he scratches his head nervously, Merlin would then find herself excited as he just keeps getting so strong that he doesn't even know how to control his powers. But even then, it's like he's an experienced veteran who knows how to restrict himself and all that bottled up power and still win like when he fought in the exams. So this is who Yami chose, Mereleona would think. After splitting up into the groups, the knights then attack as Noelle and Mereleona show their need for payback when they meet their first enemies. Asta would use the Inumaki sigil to freeze the mages in their tracks, and Mereleona would charge past them, filling the halls with flames, and Noelle does the same with this silver magic. You'll pay for what you did to him, all of you. As he follows behind, Asta would then see some enemies ahead, but chooses to let Mereleona go off, and she would bulldoze past them. Does she even need us? Zora would ask. Focus on the mission, we can talk later. This shrimp really flips the switch when he fights, doesn't he? As they reach the end of the tunnel, they are then actually blinded by a release of darkness, and Asta would appear right in front of their leader, cutting through it with the dark slash then hitting the sides of the wall and ripping through them until they would dissipate, and Raya would then make himself known, now having his third eye activated. Of course you're here, he would say. In this moment, though, he then feels something as he would then barely dodge a punch from Mereleona, but the leftover flames for magic would then blow him into the open space as he would then slam into a floating stone platform. What's with that magic? And she came from my blind spot instantly. He would then see Asta flying away while holding Raya and would pull himself out of the stone, releasing a barrage of light spears at them, only for the spears to be burned up by Mereleona, who gets in his way. Let's not get brass involved. Don't get so overconfident. That magic is something you took from us. As their fight rages on, we return to the Black Bull base where Ghosh, Henry, Gordon, and Gray have been attacked, but despite all odds, Gordon and Gray let their voices be heard and screamed their devotion to protect their home against the likes of Rades, Sally, and Valtos. This puts a smile on Ghosh's face as he is able to now admit that he has finally found someone, well, people other than Mary, that he wants to protect. Doesn't matter how loud you scream, my little monster was made from captain level knights. You deaf or something? Please, quiet down. Sorry for being late, guys. As they turn, Ghosh would then say, what the hell were you doing in there? Henry would then finally come out wearing a black bull robe, saying, I was sleeping, but to try and destroy our home, you must be really seeking death. Back at the Grand Mana Zone, as he was running away, Asta then actually felt a reaction and stopped. What? Zora asked. Instantly, Asta would run the other way, blowing back Zora, who would yell, what the hell are you doing? In that instant, Asta would then appear back in the area where Mereleona and Raya were fighting and release his anti-magic katana, and he would then slam its dull side into the side of Raya when he tries to detonate himself, and Mereleona comes to a stop, and Raya loses all his power just as Asta would then also punch him across the face. What the hell are you doing? You don't just get to throw away your life like that. These words confuse the elf as he is then sent cratering to the ground, and Mereleona would then ask why he came back just to do all this. It's clear they have a reason to hate us so much. We were gonna capture him alive, right? Why would I? These people are looking for carnage. I'll fight fire with fire. Then we'll just end up in an endless cycle. It's a terrifying thing, hate. I should know. I'm made from nothing but negativity. But if we took time to listen, then I think we could solve everything. And what if that doesn't work? Asked Mereleona. I'll make it work. Because I'm strong. Raya can feel Asta's sincereness just from his words, and he thought back to Lumiere, who said the same words. If I got the name of the Wizard King wrong, please tell me. I feel like I always do. But it was too late to turn back. In that instant, a huge release of mana would hit everyone, not just in the zone, but in the entire Clover Kingdom, as Raya would then explode with a bright light, and sacrifices from their own so-called comrades allowed the elves to bring back their fallen brethren, their true friends. Even Rady, Sally, and Valto suffered at the hands of the spell Lick was finally able to release, and they cursed them as they were taken advantage of and seemingly died. But you know that's not true, but you get what I'm trying to say. Julius had fallen, lost the stones to Paltry, aka Vengeance, aka leader of the elves, but the fake one, but the elves were now back. Raya would then stand. What irony. To think that's why you were like this entire time. That's why you tried to always capture us. But sorry, kid. This is the end. He uses both light magic and dark magic, releasing a violent barrage of them, but in that instant, Asta's third eye would form as he bursts with anti-magic and enters his black mode. He would then spin and release a violent barrage himself, and a bunch of black slashes blow all of Raya's magic away as if it was dust. Impossible. And that grimoire, he really does have it, thought Raya. Asta then appeared behind him and in an instant uttered the word sleep while activating the Inumaki sigil. Like I said, I'm strong, so I'll make it happen. As Raya falls over, Zora would have just arrived, seeing the spectacle, and would be less shocked, thinking that this eerie form Asta possessed seemed more controlled than last time, even if it was just only a little. You're real committed, huh? Asked the lioness. And Asta would smile, saying, yeah, sorry, I guess our stances are just different. In that instant, however, gigantic worms bust in, being accompanied by a possessed Rill who had drawn them, and Zora would say, hey, something's off with that guy. Instead of having the usual big smile he bore, Rill now had a murderous gaze. Get away from him! Rill senpai, you don't recognize us? Asta would ask. My name is Lyra. His gigantic worms then breathe different elements and specifically attack our heroes, but Asta would swing up once and a gigantic slash would cut through it all, leaving the elf shocked as Mereleona would then charge while Asta would appear flying over with her to Rill. Can't you do something about this with your anti-magic? I think the best thing I can do is just keep putting them to sleep. He forms the Inumaki sigil and screams sleep, blasting the elf's ears with sound waves as his eyes would then go blank and he begins to fall before he is then caught by Mereleona. That thing's real useful, huh? She watches as the sigil would then fade away, but then more possessed comrades arrive and Zora would ask how long that sleeping thing lasts. I don't know, they're sleeping. I don't use mana. Humans, how dare you, the elves would scream out. Asta would then use the sigil again and knock them out, but he felt his voice strain a bit. Zora would then land down as he and Mereleona would then notice him checking his throat, and they would ask what's wrong. Cursed energy works differently from mana, obviously, but it seems because their hate is so high, it counterattacks my cursed speech. In other words, you're running on empty, Zora would say. Asta would then nod, but says that luckily he can also heal himself, but he can't keep doing that forever because using reverse curse technique does take a lot out of him. Doesn't matter anyway, you got that anti-magic thing, Zora would say. Oh yeah, I guess I do, huh? As he laughs, the two would then think that it's ridiculous how many backups he actually has other than, you know, the anti-magic katana, such as literally warping space, and that includes Rika, who was his biggest trump card. But they realize that this is the better method to keep the companions safe, to have Asta knock them out. So Asta would head on and just go to the main room, while Zora and Mereleona would do their best with the others, and their best hope is to drag them to the main room where Asta will be heading to, and he can then knock them out. Asta would then exit black mode for now and head to the main room they're all aiming for, but as he arrives, he finds Mimosa hung up on a cross made from Klaus's magic and also that of Hamon. He lands, and Mimosa would then be so happy to see him. But you should be careful, they're not themselves right now. Hey, Yuno, you there? Yuno stays unresponsive, with Asta then also seeing the body of the real Licked floating above all of them, and he forms the Inumaki sigil. Sleep. As the elves begin to attack, instantly they all fall asleep, and Asta would then heal his throat as Mimosa would then fall from the cross with the magic being deactivated, and Asta would then ask if she's okay while he approaches Yuno. Yeah, I'm fine, but why won't he do anything? Hey Yuno, if you don't wake up, I swear to God, I'll take the title of the Wizard King for myself. A resonance is then made as Yuno would then crack a smile, which then turns to a frown. Man, I'm gonna have to quadruple my training. Mimosa would then cry seeing him come back, as she would then run over and hug him, asking if he's okay. Yeah, sorry, everything's a bit vague, but I wasn't much help, was I? It's okay, you're fine now at least. Asta then laughed, saying that he still didn't want to be Wizard King, by the way, saying because you're gonna be the Wizard King, right? Yuno would then smile, saying yes, but then he and Mimosa feel an overwhelming source of mana, and they see Lick truly come to life as he floats down and lands, grabbing a certain sword that was laid out before him, and he loses all its shabby appearance because it looked dirty, and it now was shining, and Yuno would say, this mana, Asta, he isn't normal, you have to bring out Rika right now. Asta would then get in a fighting stance when Nero then lands on his head, and he would say, what the, where have you been, you followed us? In that instant, Lick would then appear right before them at the speed of light, and he slashes down, only for Asta to then counter with his sword and blow him back, leaving the man surprised, the elf surprised, and Nero would then fly away as Belle then forms beside Yuno. Sorry I'm late. Instantly combining with Yuno, she helps him enter Spirit Dive as he then releases a massive Spirit Storm, but the elf will cut through it with ease before then starting to absorb it, leaving the three surprised, but Asta would attack as he and Lick then clash, causing a shockwave that keeps blowing back Yuno and everyone in the entire room. And the strikes then shook even the very zone to its core as well. I can't even get close, thought Yuno. As they clash though, Asta will be asking Lick how his sword can do what it does because it is really similar to what his anti-magic katana lets him do. Why is it that you possess my grimoire? Asta is surprised by this question and yells, be blown away, sending Lick flying as he then manages to stop himself, but he sees he is surrounded by some strange creatures. These would be Shikigami, and out of nowhere, an invisible force then cuts his torso open as he then begins to be bombarded by invisible attacks, and he would spin and cut through all of these Shikigami, and as he gathers light magic, he would then release a massive beam towards our heroes. As he sees this and Asta about to face it alone, cannot let himself fall behind, especially since his brother said that he would become the Wizard King, and with such confidence. He flies over and uses Spirit Storm once again, and their attacks would clash, as Yuno would say, a bit late on the counterattack, huh? Asta would then smile, saying sorry, as he then switches back to his other katana, and he slashes, releasing a gigantic granite blast that combines with Yuno's Spirit Storm and pushes back Lick's attack. Please, dodge, Asta thought, as their attacks then blow through the gravito belt, leaving a gaping hole in it, and Lick is then nowhere to be found as the dust would clear. But then, as Yuno falls to his knees, completely exhausted, he says, someone took him. Mimosa will then say that she no longer even feels the immense amount of mana coming from the possessed people anymore, and Asta then sees Klaus and Haman are even gone. They all left to the kingdom. Indeed, the elves did, as the Shadow Palace was about to be made, because clearly someone as powerful as Asta was definitely above Julius, so he became even more of a nuisance, and they had to leave using portal magic and quickly gather up power. And they only left non-possessed humans there, and that includes Mimosa, Yuno, Asta, Zora, Mereleona, Noelle, Noelle, and Kirsch. But this is when I'll be bringing this part to an end. And that brings us to the end of the video. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this part. I hope you like the gameplay I put in the background as well. I was a bit too lazy to add in all the manga, pictures, but also I realized that it was going to get stale soon because I would be using the same pictures over and over. So I decided to do what every single What If is doing right now and just put up some gameplay clips for you guys to see. I suck pretty bad at the beginning, but I did get better, as you saw if you continue to watch this video. But regardless, I really hope you enjoyed this part, and don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. And yeah, the next video should be what if Luffy had Yuno's powers. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that next. See you guys, stay safe, and peace.
Oh darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours, while I'm walking on you through the night. You can break my bones, break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart, you should fucking stay with him.